This is Academic Writing 1, first semester final recap. Now, I strongly urge you to watch the previous video as well, as the topics that I covered in that video would be in the syllabus as well. So, let us begin with this video. From understanding titles to planning. To really understand titles and plan written work, one must analyze the essay titles, brainstorm ideas, consider the length of the essay, and prepare an outline. On to note-making. Note-making is not something that your teacher will ever see or grade, but it is an essential part of writing nonetheless. To make notes, one would have to find the key points, find the points relevant to the subject, use one of the many note-making methods such as the outline method, the Cornell method, the mind mapping method, the flow notes method, the sentence method, the charting method, and the writing on slides method. You can read more about these methods in the lecture files. Make notes effectively in order to understand them later. This is very important. Here are some useful note-making strategies. Use your own words, write down a few points, or add a lot of detail. Record the source of your notes. Keep it simple. Avoid complete sentences. You may leave out articles and prepositions. When making lists, make the heading and the numbering system clear. Use symbols to save time, and use self-made abbreviations, but do not overuse it. You won't be able to remember your notes later if you overuse abbreviations. So, what is summarizing? The point of summarizing is to shorten a text without missing any of its key points. It must be clear, objective, and accurate. To summarize, one must understand the text by scanning, reading, and skimming, break the text down into sections, identify the key points in each section, write the summary itself, and then check the summary against the original text. So, what is paraphrasing? Stating the same information using a mostly different vocabulary while retaining its meaning is called paraphrasing. To paraphrase, you would have to change vocabulary, use synonyms, change word class, and change word order. Now, what are the differences between references, quotations, and citations? References are referrals to the sources of the parts of your work that you do not own. There are many referencing methods or systems, such as the Harvard method, the Vancouver method, the MLA method, and the footnote or endnote method. Quotations are unchanged sentences or phrases from someone else's work that you are allowed to use, given that you mention the source. Citations are the acts of citing or quoting someone with references to the source material. There are a few rules when it comes to using quotations. Short quotations of 2 or 3 lines are shown by single quotation marks. Nested quotations, on the other hand, use double quotation marks. Longer quotations are either indented and/or printed in smaller type, in which case quotation marks are not required. Page numbers are to be given after the date. Must be exactly the same as the original. Irrelevant words can be deleted using ellipses to indicate the missing section. To insert a word in a quotation in order to clarify a point, use square brackets. These are some of the ways to cite your sources effectively. Give references, use reference verbs, follow a referencing method or system, use abbreviations in citations, if necessary, give secondary references, and organize the list of references. About academic style. It is important to maintain a specific style when it comes to academic writing. Informal vocabulary, vagueness, contractions, and etc. damages the academic writing style. There are no strict rules that apply to every situation, but some general guidelines should be kept in mind. Always identify the components of the academic writing style, follow the guidelines of the academic writing style, avoid repetition and redundancy, vary sentence lengths, be cautious, and use modifiers. So, these are the guidelines for appropriate style. Use standard English. Use appropriate vocabulary. Be precise and factual with your phrasing. Avoid absolute statements when writing conclusions. Avoid adverbs that express or imply your biased opinions. Do not use contractions. Passive sentences should not be overused. Avoid interrogative sentences. Avoid numbering unless it is an essay or a report, and use conjunctions instead. when writing lists, avoid using etc. and so on. Avoid using two-word verbs. So, let's discuss report writing with an example. We start with the headline, then we write staff correspondent or staff reporter, and then we put the name of the newspaper. If there is a newspaper mentioned in the question paper, then we write the name of the newspaper. Otherwise, it is not needed. Then we write the date and time of publishing. And for the body of the report, there must be at least 3 paragraphs. There can be more, but there cannot be less. So let's move on. Now, essay writing, we were given some general themes, which are aim in life, discipline, newspaper, student life, and national development. Now, these won't be the exact titles of the essay, as Devdash sir said, but these are the general themes. I mean, it's going to be pretty close, so please read up on these topics. Now, on to the question pattern. Now, in midterms, you all have already seen how a question pattern can be, so let's just jump into it. We have theoretical questions, we have report writing, and essay writing. Pretty simple. You know how theoretical questions can be, so there is really no need to give an example. Let's move on. And that is the end of the presentation. I know it was a lot to take in, and I know I'm pretty late, but you know, I've been busy. So I'll see you guys later, and good luck with your exams.